What's up? It's your boy Kevin to turn on this motherfucking YouTube shit. Wow, what the fuck? What's up? It's your boy Kevin on YouTube shit. Hey man, say man, we are Lit 13, man, turn. Today, to motherfucker day, straight here outside, big crip in the gang, straight here outside shit, man. Free Palestine, free Congo, Russia, Europe, and Texas, stand the fuck up. Each day is a new day to be a better version of yourself. Never let somebody bring you down, always fight back. Never let somebody tell you are a boss, never put yourself in a position you don't belong. Stay humble, let's get on the revolution, on this movement, and let's continue to fight. You dig what I'm saying? Keep your way first. Come to the Black Hebrew Israelite as a real Jew. Alright? Boom. Today? To motherfucking day, straight here outside, big crip in the gang, straight here outside shit, man. So, we finna talk about this shit, man. Yslwoody, man. I don't know why Yslwoody continually speak on Young Thugg and his probation and what Young Thugg going through. We know y'all not friends. He trying to push this narrative so fucking hard that him and Thugg is friends, is like cool as fuck. They ain't not friends. We already said he don't even know, like he don't even fuck with Woody like that. He don't even know Woody. You know what I'm saying? He asked in that court date to just be around fucking Gunna. And that's it. Other than that, you know what I'm saying? He continues to speak on Thugg and his probation and shit. So we got the videos about what went down in court and how it got down to this situation. Let's get into it. Shout out to Get Hip TV. We finna speak on Yslwoody and his relationship with Young Thugg and his probation, man.
Yo, what's good, YouTube? Man, y'all tuning in to Get Hip TV. As y'all can see from the title, we got Woody speaking out about him and Thugg, his time being locked up, and a lot more. So, man, stay tuned. We're going to get into that. But before we do, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay
You know, I know Woody planned all this.
So, we've been covering Woody a lot
to get to this point.
Been wanting to continue
you know what I'm saying?
And share his story. And in this video, that's exactly what he did. He spoke out about him and Young Thugg, and he shared some of his experiences when he was locked up. So, man, I'm going to roll the clip, and I'm going to let y'all see.
This shit got wild.
Y'all thoughts on it down in the comments below.
While I'm crying, I know it's hurt, you feel me? Like, but I just wake up, bro. I got a Bentley, bro. Like, I got cars I dream to have. I just get up and tell my nephew, come on, let's just go fly out of state. And he like, where we going?
You better thank Young Thugg for that.
Yeah.
And it's just me and my nephew. It's nobody else with us. And we flew from here to another state. And I looked at my nephew when the plane landed and gave him death. I said, this living, bro. This living. Nobody never did that. You know, when I love Thugg. Like, people don't know that. Like, I love Thugg with all my heart. You feel me? Thugg came and got me from the neighborhood. Now, man, and you know, we have our ups and downs. That ain't for the internet. But the most thing I love about Thugg, though, that when things were good with us,
he put you down.
It was good. You feel me? Before a lot of people interfere and start trying to brainwash both of us, man, you know, the love was so real. Like, he started showing me that in other places outside of Lemon. And I was like, dang, you know what I mean? He didn't have to do that. But then, you know, things turn because some people don't like it. They don't like your joy. You feel me? Like,
that's a fact. That's a fact.
And then people, they try to turn us against each other. You feel me? And, you know, people judge me, talk down on me. You know what Charles White did to me, bro? He got on the internet and told everybody who watched that I'm a K. That I go around and do this to people, right? But I never did that to one person a day in my life. And I see how the internet, a school bus driver told me that her students on the bus told her, I did this to 10 people. I'm like, oh, wow, the internet have brainwashed our community so bad. And it got me thinking, like, did I actually do this to that many people? Like, the same person who said that about me, he brags about doing it. Man. So, you know, like,
I said, I seen that. I seen him talk about that.
yeah, so it's like he done went too far, and he disrespected my child and my mama and all the people I love with all my heart. And I felt like I didn't deserve that because I'm like, I love you, Charles White. So it was like, you want to turn the people against me so bad, but why you making me an enemy, bro? So it's like, I see that and I just be like, wow. But guess what? Even though me and Charles White don't do business and stuff like that, guess what he do though? He called me right now and he be like, I'm just checking on you, man.
He called you to this day?
He called me yesterday and like, man, I'm just checking on you. So, and it's like,
so he doing it for the views.
But he don't post it on social media though.
So how you react when he call you and say that?
Because I don't want nobody to hold grudges against me. So I try not to hold grudges against nobody. I'm still growing.
Yeah.
But I gotta forgive people if I want people to forgive me.
Forgive, but don't forget. If they did it one time.
So I learned this what I did. I said I forgive, but we can't eat at the same table.
Yeah.
And you know, because we all, you know what I mean, I feel like he old enough to know better. But you know, his career and his path is his and mine is mine. So it's like, dang, bro, like, but I was a zombie going in that courtroom every day, bro.
You had anxiety. That was anxiety.
But you know, I relive this stuff every second, bro. I literally had to do everything in my power to distract my mind from thinking, because every time I ain't doing that, my mind just instantly think about that. So it's just like, man. And then the crazy thing about it, I can't really speak how I want to speak on the situation because it's like, I don't like feeling like I got to explain myself. So anytime I feel like I'm explaining myself, the other side come out of me like, I don't explain myself to nobody. However anybody want to feel it.
Yeah.
So I be having battle between different personalities. You feel me? Like that's.
But that's why you got real people in your corner, like me and the supporters. Like you told me, you gotta talk. You gotta actually talk about it with people who care.
But it's like kind of hard with talking about it with people because you got a lot of people out here that trying to trap me up. You feel me? Try to get me to say the wrong thing.
You do that to yourself because you already on like the federal stand. So it's like
people, like a lot of people who interview me, like that's why I got a lot of love for Denzel Project because Denzel, right? He want people to meet Kenneth Copeland, not Yslwoody. You feel me? Like, and I go on No Jumper and Vlad. Like I ain't gonna lie, I like Adam. Adam was cool. Like, thank you, bro. I like Adam. Adam was cool. Like he was fun. He was uplifting. Like. But
he messy.
Yes. But he wasn't being messy with me. He was being more playful. You feel me? Like I guess when he realized when he got around me, not to bring that energy.
What about Vlad? Because I was watching a little bit of that Vlad. How you feel about Vlad?
He the FBI. For real?
Most definitely.
Vlad, Vlad know what he be talking about, bro.
He most definitely is the FBI.
He knows, like, man, he was scaring me, bro. Like, I was like, dang, man, they gonna wait on me at the elevator.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta talk in code with Vlad, boy.
You know what I mean? So it was just like, you know, but I don't know. I'm not gonna say the police because I don't know. Like, I didn't see his badge, but he got somewhere in his pockets.
He got something.
And you know, some people who spoke good on him, on his behalf, like, they was like, after watching the interview with you, yeah, I'm second guessing him. He was drilling me, bro. I'm like, dang, I gotta outsmart him.
Yeah. That's why I ain't got too many interviews because people be want to ask me about the drama. Like, I want to talk about something positive.
This how I knew when you tell somebody a lie and only certain ones know the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what I said? Yep. I seen when I said I answered the question so good, right? And when I seen he felt some type of way about else, I said, oh, this nigga no lie.
Yeah.
I said, oh, yeah. Can't mess with him.
That boy Vlad, boy.
That boy Vlad know a lot of shit.
He said some stuff to
And I know he working with the government.
Make me feel comfortable telling me that.
But you seen how Pee Wee Longway did him, though.
Hey, you know what's crazy, though? I watched the Longway video. I was laughing. But, yeah. Long way to go for that.
That boy Longway tell Vlad, that boy said, he said, are you in a gang or anything on what MPA? He said, no, sir, I don't condone stuff like that. I'm a good guy. That boy said, I'm a good guy. I say, nigga, what the feel? I say, boom, bro. That's how you supposed to do it.
They sit there and they plot on this, bro.
They do.
You feel me? Like, Vlad hit me up last year. I was like, how you know I'm out of jail? He trusts because I got word.
What's the longest you done did?
I did 51 months.
51 months?
I did it in the Fed, so.
Because that's Fed time right there.
Yeah, that's how they sentenced me. They sentenced me to 60 months. I got like 9 months off for good time. I didn't get in no real trouble.
So which worse, the Fed or the state prison? State worse than Fed? So you got...
As in serving time, the state worse.
Uh-huh.
If you go through, like, if a person had to do time, he wish to do it in the Feds.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like, you have more mature people in the Feds, smart people in the Feds.
Uh-huh.
The state, you have the neighborhoods in the state. The Feds the officers treat you with respect. The older dudes, you know, they most of the people in there greed. They enough for greed. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
And then they're cool. And the state, everybody enough for taking from each other. It's like what you call a crab in a bucket or a bunch of roaches in the neighborhood. It just yeah. The state was just, and I went to a South camp for what I heard. I was like,
level 5.
Who? I probably had a heart attack. Hey, that's when I realized jail went for me.
Yeah. So your time was sweet.
Well, my Fed time was sweet. My state time, it was like a game of chess. I had to think every second because it's like I gotta take these programs to get paroled out early, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now it's like I hear what's going on because it's like out of 10 people, right? 2 of them like me. 2 of them like me. 7 of them want to hang with me. 3 of them really don't like me.
Yeah.
But the 3 that don't like me, mad because they feel like they supposed to be bigger than me, I guess. So guess what? Sign up. What they do, right? They gonna try to figure out. They gonna try a lot of hating ways to get me.
Mm-hmm.
So this what happened when I was in the state. When I got on the compound, people they so used to hearing me being violent. They never believed I could be calm and humble.
Yeah.
So when they saw me go, they were saying, man, that man going to education. Yeah. I'm trying to get these good points so I go on early. I got a life.
Yeah.
So when they see it, they don't see me acting stupid. Now they go to size me up. But they don't know I'm watching me. I'm like, he's sizing me up.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about the people I know. I don't get on the stories. This is a real world I'm living in. We ain't jail. You think I'm going to keep myself here? So I ain't telling them the stories.
Yeah.
So now it's like, okay, now they like, man, he a phony. He ain't really who he say he is. I'm in jail, fool. I don't never do nothing to get caught. You think I'm finna do something with y'all and I ain't got nowhere to rent to?
Fact.
So long story short, they got it in their mind that I ain't that person who they thought I was. And then they started to plot on me.
Mm-hmm.
When they plot on me, 2 people come back and let me know. But one of them secretly gonna give me a weapon. And then he got another one that wanna be my friend because he feel like I got some money, so he gonna play on me because he think I got some money.
Mm-hmm.
He gonna come tell me, hey look, they got these boys trying to trick you to crash out. So they gave you a weapon to defend yourself so that you can go to a level 5. And when you get to a level 5, they got a whole bunch of people that waiting on you.
Mm-hmm.
I said, appreciate you, OG. He said, listen, I can tell you ain't going from there. He said, but you got to be smart. You got 30 days to go home.
Bet.
What you going to do? You can go to the hole and sit in the hole till it's time for you to go home? Or you can stay right here and let these boys get scraps off you and trick you and make you stay in here longer.
So you went to the hole the last 30 days?
I was being stupid. I stayed on the compound, guys. So, listen, me being Woody, I got my ass, and I told her I ain't ready for nobody. I went out on the compound, and I had something did little. Man, this man whipped out some half of my body side. I ain't bow down. I had to let him know. Before I go to this hole, I ain't just gonna go.
Yeah.
And I learned the lesson. Never be stupid like that again. The dude, me and the dude get into it. I tried to fade, but remember, I got something did little.
Bet.
When I fade, he jumped. They were scared of me, bro. They were scared, bro. But the pressure that they had on them from other people, and they knew they had to be in jail, had them got a crash out on Woody. So anyway, dude, he had a big one in the arm. As soon as I felt it and seen it, pulled myself up, ran back inside, and wrapped myself up so that I wouldn't get caught, because if they look at the camera, now I can lose my parole date.
Bet.
So now when my arm heal up, you know what time it is now.
Bet.
I went back on the yard again.
Yeah.
So the dude like, man, listen, bro, you seriously got problems. He talked to me, and then he like, bro, don't worry about what these guys, they family don't even love them.
Yeah.
And when he said that, guess what I say? Man, dude. I told the officer, hey, I'm going to the hole. Everybody like, Woody, don't leave. I did a nigga like him, but forget y'all.
Yeah.
So niggas shaking their head like, don't go out bad. Say what y'all want to say about me. When I got the upper hand, we gonna see.
Yeah.
Police like, man, you going to the hole? I said, yup, and you finna take me. He said, who bring you? I said, the hotel. Oh, you laughing. Get what the scary part about that was?
Good.
When I went to the hole, they said, listen, you ain't gonna get parole out from back here. You gotta be on the compound. I said, you trying me? I used to do it all the time. The guards were trying to make me go back on the West End, so guess what I did?
What?
I ain't going back out there. So guess what they said? Well, they gonna take my parole date. You know what I did? I came out the hole. Y'all ain't taking the parole date. I just want that parole date. So this when my smartness come in. Well, let's put it on record that I don't want to be on compound. And y'all force me back on compound. So when I do what I do to somebody, I beg y'all to put me in the hole. I ain't worried about what nobody gonna do to me. I'm worried about what I'm gonna do to somebody else.
Yeah.
They put me on compound. I had my people called out to the jail. They wouldn't put me back in the hole. So somebody told me that, hey, listen, bro, they can't do that to you. They gotta put you back in there. So guess what I did? I made them take me back to the hole, and I stayed in the hole till I got out.
Yeah.
But to see how the guards were letting the inmates run their jail, I was grateful that I wasn't with where people that really living like me on the street in there was. Because I had 30 days to go home. These boys got life sentence. They don't got nothing to lose. Why y'all put me around here?
Nothing at all. You smart though.
I put myself in a position to protect myself and let my family know if something happened to me, it's on the jail. The jail.
That's what the jail wants.
Care what y'all feel like I did.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I will crack you across your naked.
Yeah.
So that's my mindset, because it's like, y'all might look at me like that way, but I don't care. Like it is what it is. Like, y'all don't know my history.
We already know you gave a Thugg for the bag.
I get so angry with
That's it. Shout out to Volksgeist. You know what I'm saying? This is video.
On November 1st, 2024, after more than 900 days behind bars, Jeffrey Williams was released from jail. Just a couple of days earlier, though, he was facing a possible sentence of 120 years.
The rapper, whose real name is Jeffrey Williams Jr., was arrested Monday on 56
When he trying to put that nigga down under for life.
He'd been on trial for almost a year, with the proceedings around his fate eventually becoming the longest trial in the history of Georgia. Before that, though, he was a music legend. Young Thugg had been an icon in hip-hop for over 10 years, with people calling his voice a beautiful instrument. an extraordinarily distinctive artist with 3 Billboard #1 singles and countless awards to his name. In the words of many critics, he was the David Bowie or Prince of hip-hop, one of the biggest musical figures to ever come out of Atlanta. With a general understanding that hip-hop wouldn't be what it is today without him, his clothes have ended up in fine art exhibits around the world, and he even won a Grammy Award for Song of the Year in 2019. But the story of how he ended up in a courtroom facing a 120-year sentence in the first place as part of the longest and most controversial trial ever in Georgia is long and complicated.
I've done 300 appeals in the state of Georgia alone. I've never read a case like this.
It's an all-too-real reminder of a corrupt legal system, the dark side of the music industry, and, of course, the life of young Thugg himself. And it all starts with a little kid growing up in one of the worst parts of Atlanta. If you're interested in more of my creations, we just launched a brand new forest, with 48% of the city being covered in trees. It results in a reputation for beautiful affluent neighborhoods with mansions and parks, but on the other side of the coin, its most dangerous areas can often be described as dark and scary thanks to winding streets and secluded tree-covered neighborhoods. In Atlanta, you might not know you're on the wrong side of town until it's too late. And one little island in Atlanta's sea of trees was Jonesboro South, a housing project that existed from 1970 till it was demolished in 2008. Providing government-funded housing for up to 150 low-income families at a time, it was widely known as one of the worst places to live in Georgia, with everyday life being consumed and overrun with crime, addiction, and violence. Conditions got bad enough that in the end, it was easier for the government to tear the whole thing down and give everyone somewhere else to live, rather than try and clean it up. Add on top of that, Atlanta has a reputation for entire parts of the city being heavily affected by poverty, urban decay, and little to no economic opportunities for the residents. The result is hundreds of thousands of people for whom making it out has literal and figurative meaning. One of those people was Jeffrey Williams. Born in the summer of 1991, he was the 10th of 11 children in his family. Speaking years later, he said this about his experiences growing up. Anything you see wrong with me came from the projects, Jonesboro South. Along his right cheekbone was a thin but prominent scar. Jonesboro, he repeats, shaking his head. You know how roaches look, and rats, right? He later said, I was in the streets at 8 years old. I went to school so my mom and dad would keep buying me clothes, but when I got out, I did whatever I wanted to do, fighting or all other kinds of shit. But the part of the story where this kid from one of the worst areas in Atlanta, who was living a hard, dangerous life from a young age, got on the path to become an internationally known artist, wasn't a big, profound moment of artistic inspiration. Young Thugg said it himself. Anyone can rap if you've got brains, so I just went with it. For a lot of people around him, making music represented a way to get ahead, a way to make a name for yourself, a way to make it out. During an interview from 2014 when he was 20 years old and had just started to attract some hype in the industry, he talked about sleeping at the studio and the motivations that drove his early musical output. Thugg explains that he crashed at the studio, as he often does. I never leave, he says, in a thick, sedated drawl. All day, every second. Gotta keep the money coming in. There's another largely forgotten look into his early work and mindset that you can find online. In a Reddit post from 2010, a 19-year-old young Thugg posted an AMA interview, and it showed that his mindset was a lot sharper than most people who stumbled upon him would have assumed. Out of all 6 questions he received, the most interesting one was this. Within 30 seconds of you rapping, how often do you mention bitches, clubs, expensive cars, and booze? His answer was, I make a product for a certain audience and I'm good at it. Supply and demand, simple economics. I don't do this because I love the attention. I do this because I have a certain skill set that allows me to get paid without the threat of doing federal time. Basically, for young Thugg and many people around him coming from Jonesboro South and places like it, opportunities to make real money were few and far between. It made sense to him to either make a name for himself as an artist or risk jail time for his crimes. But it wouldn't be long before young Thugg started to stand out and went down a much different road than his early motivations of getting money seemed to imply.
Everybody know when you a young nigga on the come up, man, you trying to make it out.
2010s, putting out 10 mixtapes between 2011 and 2014.
You say a bunch of shit, do a bunch of shit.
From nothing, were just pure dirty South mixtapes. A DJ yelling over the slow, sludgy beats, laid-back flows, MIDI instruments. Young Thugg's first ever mixtape featured artists like Future at a time when the song Tony Montana had only come out a few weeks earlier. For the most part, there's a whole lot of Thugg rapping like he's doing his best Lil Wayne impression, with corny yet funny lyrics and one of the thickest Atlanta accents you'll ever hear.
I don't know what y'all mean. Outfit. Nurse right, that's purple. Smoke a lot of weed, no garden. Y'all shouldn't have started me. Now you cannot park me. Told your hoe to arch her back, get on her knee work.
By the time 2015 rolled around, he had ascended to a level entirely his own. Crazy inflections, one of the most unique vocal styles you'll ever hear, bizarre one-liners, and a voice that sounds more like a broken instrument than anything else. He was a rapper making hip-hop for sure, but the focus was always more on his ability to make music with his voice than anything he actually said with lyrics. Track 9 from his 2015 mixtape Slime Season perfectly encapsulates what I'm saying. It's definitely a rap song, but when you listen to it, you don't hear much of what he's rapping. Instead, you listen to him floating on the beat with beautiful melodies unlike anything you've ever heard before.
They sick and tired of hearing about my jewelry, but if it fall on the ground, yeah, you might just slip and fall, nigga. She a shark, she like a Jaws, nigga. Yo, bitch say she want a tall nigga. You are.
His talent for creating catchy,
I heard everything the motherfucker was saying. You just gotta be black and understanding the shit.
Was literally unmatched. But even though
yeah, some of his music, you know, you can't really understand it, but
America, the big thing that made Young Thug stand out was that he was just really fucking weird. Young Thug's early hits like Lifestyle, Best Friend, Mamacita, and more made a name for him mainly because he was just so strange. Whoever he was rapping alongside, featuring on their song, he made them sound boring and normal. It didn't matter who it was, he always stole the show. But depending on who you asked, that wasn't always a good thing. People online would say he mumbled too much or didn't have any good verses. While songs like Best Friend and Lifestyle were big hits, in a lot of ways it was because of the shock factor. Underneath all of that, though, was the clear, obvious reality that this guy was something different. Him being difficult to understand wasn't because he was from Atlanta, it was because he was from an entirely different planet, making music that didn't sound like anything else that existed at the time. A lot of the songs he made 10 years ago still sound fresh today. But despite some critics labeling him as untalented or weird or just plain bad, Young Thug's energy was unstoppable. Fast forward a few years, and he had become the definition of an icon. Massive hits like Pick Up the Phone, Hot, Sacrifices, and his unique style of melodic rapping even made its way into mainstream pop radio, when he featured on the absolutely massive Diamond-certified Havana by Camila Cabello in 2018. Plus a seemingly endless list of his own mixtapes, albums, and songs that all painted a picture of Young Thug as more than just someone with a weird style, but instead an innovative artist. When he released his album Jeffrey in 2016, he wore a dress by the Italian designer Alessandro Trincone on the album cover. A dress that became so famous it ended up touring art museums all around the world for its place in music history, while at the same time attracting mountains of negative attention from hip-hop media. When talking about himself, he would say he was the next Michael Jackson. And he quickly became famous for hardly ever writing lyrics.
He had to wear a dress because he had a stick with him.
Every single one of his lyrics in real time to facilitate.
We might skip some of this so we get to the court shit.
Without Young Thug, hip-hop wouldn't be what it is now, helping launch the careers of chart-topping rappers like Gunna, Lil Baby, Playboi Carti, and more in the 1960s. After going to law school and moving to Atlanta to be a lawyer, she quickly made her mark by exposing that 44 out of 56 schools in Atlanta were falsifying test results on standardized tests. But her ambition didn't stop there. Willis also took on Donald Trump, filing highly controversial election racketeering charges after the 2020 election, which led to her.
Because he won the president, they won't convict him, but they convict any other black nigga in the world.
At the same time. And YSL wasn't the first target Willis had when it came to dismantling gang activity in Atlanta. Before Young Thug, she went after Drug Rich Gang, a crew associated with Rich Homie Quan, a former friend of Young Thug. And not long after the charges against Thug were filed,
R.P. Rich Homie
appeared, revealing that other potential targets she was looking at included groups affiliated with Playboi Carti, Future, Lil Baby, and more. The case against Young Thug was simple. In January of 2015, 26-year-old Donovan Nut Thomas was gunned down outside an Atlanta barbershop in what authorities described as a premeditated attack. According to prosecutors, the murder was not a random act of violence, but a calculated hit connected to ongoing rivalries in the city. And the Fulton County District Attorney's Office alleges that Young Thug had a central role in orchestrating the killing. Prosecutors claim that Young Thug financed and organized the hit, tying it to a larger racketeering scheme under Georgia's RICO Act. A key piece of evidence presented early in the case involves a silver Infiniti Q50 sedan, reportedly rented in Young Thug's name, which prosecutors say was the getaway vehicle in the murder. Surveillance footage from the night of the murder captured the car near the crime scene, further linking Young Thug to the incident, according to the state's allegations. And immediately out of the gate, Fannie Willis established a strategy of bringing rap lyrics and social media posts as a mountain of evidence in her case against Young Thug. A highly controversial move that, while widely considered unconstitutional, doesn't have any previously set precedent for or against it at this time. It was shocking and controversial. Unfortunately for Thugg, he would be denied bond over and over, with the state describing him as a significant risk to his community. He remained behind bars with no chance of release or bail as the process of jury selection and setting up a trial got underway. But with over 30 years of legal experience, young Thugg's attorney Brian Steele wasn't going down without a fight. He was bringing in unmatched expertise and determination to win a highly intimidating case protecting one of the most pivotal figures in modern hip-hop, despite the DA's overwhelming desire to put him behind bars for the rest of his life. The YSL trial was unprecedented in its scope and complexity. It's difficult to understand just how big it really was. It stands now as the longest trial in Georgia's history, with jury selection alone taking over 10 months and requiring more than 1,000 Georgia residents to be called before they found the final 12 jurors. 4 different judges presided over the case after 3 were recused, and the prosecution would call more than 300 witnesses. Amid the proceedings, 3 co-defendants were stabbed while in jail. The real story, though, is about how this case was handled on all sides, becoming not just the longest trial in Georgia's history, but by far one of the most absurd legal proceedings ever seen. Even though young Thugg was arrested on May 9th, 2022, jury selection didn't begin until January of 2023, 8 months later. By the time that process got underway, young Thugg had already spent months behind bars, waiting for his day in court. The process of jury selection itself, though, was grueling and difficult, taking over 10 months as both the prosecution and defense searched long and hard to find 12 impartial individuals from the massive pool in front of them. According to a legal expert, there are a few reasons why this process is unusually challenging. Number 1, he's a celebrity, and number 2, it's a RICO trial. They're estimating it's going to take up to a year, so you have to find people who can give up a year of their life to sit on the jury, and that's really hard to do. Add on to that the fact that jurors would only be paid $25 a day to be on the case. It was probably just as hard to find someone who could afford that versus someone who didn't know who young Thugg was already. As the selection process began, there were quickly issues with many jurors having conflicts of interest. Ultimately, Judge Glanville, who was presiding over the situation, made the final decision of who could sit on the jury. For this reason, to ensure each juror was vetted correctly, they had to fill out a 37-page survey asking everything from people's social media activity to their frequency of listening to rap music, accepting the accusations, and escalating the confrontation to a whole other level.
So this is how
If you don't tell me who it is, I'm gonna put you.
we ain't trying to lock up the dude.
Put you in contempt because that is not attorney-client privilege. Attorney work product privilege. I am not. How did you get that information supposedly from my chambers? Did somebody tell you? I'm not. You should have told me. You got 5 minutes. Well, I don't need it. I want to continue. You got 5 minutes? This is what I was told. Mr. Copeland made statements.
The tension reached a boiling point when Steele stood his ground, refusing to disclose his source. This led to the judge holding him in
That's some
contempt
real
of court,
nigga shit. I ain't
a
gonna
legal
cap.
penalty often described as a timeout for disrupting proceedings. Brian Steele was then sentenced to 10 weekends in Fulton County Jail. But in a move that showed an extraordinary level of commitment to his client, Brian Steele requested that he could be sent to the same jail cell as young Thugg so they could continue strategizing for his
That's
sentence,
crazy.
although he ended up being allowed to bond out before actually getting booked.
Take Mr. Steele into custody, please.
Still, though, the fact that Judge Glanville held a meeting with Georgia prosecutors and a witness without the defense present isn't just unethical, it was a glaring sign of bias towards the prosecution's side. What's more, though, when confronted, the judge never denied that the meeting took place. Instead, he focused solely on the leak, sidestepping the actual issue. His evasiveness, combined with his aggressive pushback against Steele, would ultimately bring about his recusal from the trial entirely. Because in a pivotal motion for the trial and the future of everyone involved, another one of YSL's defense attorneys, Doug Weinstein, accused Judge Glanville of bias and requested for him to be removed from the trial entirely. His heavy-handed and secretive approach towards Yslwoody and refusal to discuss it with defense attorneys raised alarming questions about judicial overreach
Look,
and
that
cast
bitch
doubt
eating
on the
pastrami
trial's
sandwich.
integrity as a whole. Because when the transcript of the meeting was finally unsealed, Brian Steele described it as that Judge Glanville had morphed into a part of the prosecution team. As part of the request, Weinstein called for the trial to be paused until another judge could review the allegations, raising major concerns about the fairness of the proceedings. The motion was passed and Glanville was removed, hopefully allowing a fairer and more equitable trial to move forward. Still, though, things were somehow about to get even more complicated than they had been before. After Judge Glanville was recused, another judge, Rachel Krause, was assigned to review the recusal motion. However, this move only posed more conflict of interest since Glanville and Krause were longtime colleagues, with Glanville having donated thousands of dollars to her campaigns.
So they
just a
all
few
work
months
together.
prior. So
Told
instead,
y'all.
a new judge, Shakura Ingram, was appointed. Just 2 days later, though, she also recused herself when it was revealed that one of her courtroom deputies, an assistant to the judge, was engaged in an intimate relationship with one of the YSL defendants. With this leading to the deputy's arrest, Ingram felt it was no longer appropriate for her to preside over the case and left the court entirely. From Fox News, the relationship was discovered after Fulton County deputies seized the laptop belonging to Eppinger's attorney, Eric Johnson, because Eppinger, the defendant, was allegedly using it to communicate with other YSL members who were not in custody.
Whoa.
2 days later, Stanley, the deputy, was arrested for allegedly using a phone to communicate with Eppinger inside and outside of the courtroom. The deputy also allegedly visited Eppinger in his jail cell and attempted to smuggle contraband into the jail for him. The order of recusal states that although Judge Ingram does not believe the situation creates any actual bias to the case, she views it as one that could cause a reasonable person to question the court's impartiality. And so Judge Ingram recused herself from the case to maintain public confidence in the justice system. After so much corruption, interruption, conflict of interest, and just plain mess, the hope now was that a new judge could resolve the issues and help the trial reach its natural conclusion.
That lawyer dismounted the whole fucking new Atlanta.
Colleagues and lawyers could even
This dude dismantled the whole Atlanta DA.
After Judge Ingram stepped away from the case after just 2 days in July of 2024, Judge Paige Whitaker was able to fully take over the case. Coming with a reputation for quickly churning through cases, confidence was high that she could get the trial back on track. Still, though, the case had now gone on for over 9 months, and tensions and frustrations were rising quickly after so much drama already. Judge Whitaker immediately addressed the credibility issues surrounding the testimony from Woody that had been such a huge bump in the road for the state's case. She instructed the jury that anything he had ever said previously in court would be struck down, and he would have to come back again to fully clear the possibility of coercion influencing his statements.
We're gonna skip some of this.
But when it came time for Woody to tell his story and reveal whether or not the prosecutors could safely put so much weight on his words, Woody claimed, "I don't recall," to over 200 questions, providing little to no clarity to the situation, instead sending the case into a tailspin. He went on record and said that anything he told police in 2015 was a lie to protect himself.
Woody was just discombobulated in that bitch.
He even admitted that the killing of Donovan Thomas, the main event this case was built on to begin with, had nothing to do with YSL at all, but was instead the result of a personal beef. He openly admitted that he only blamed Young Thug for the killing of Donovan Thomas because he knew Young Thug didn't do it. He explained that he was trying to put the blame off of himself and onto someone who was clearly innocent, creating a dead end for anyone following his lead. And it only got worse from there. After saying that one of the detectives he had apparently snitched to had a brain the size of a squirrel, he was labeled a hostile witness by the prosecutors and judge, aka a witness who becomes actively unhelpful and detrimental to the party that brought them to the stand in the first place. In the wake of his testimony, prosecutors were left struggling to present a coherent case. Much of their case against Young Thug had been built on what Woody told them, and with him revealing that he had no intention of ever helping in a coherent way, they were left scrambling. Even Judge Whitaker scolded the prosecution for their disorganized presentation of evidence and their inability to provide clear arguments after Woody, either out of some hidden genius or sheer luck, threw a huge wrench in their case against Thug. After Woody left the stand, the prosecution began an attempt to use lyrics and social media posts as evidence to support their claims that YSL was a gang. However, this approach ended up being a contradictory argument. If YSL was only making music to cover up what they were really doing, it didn't exactly make sense to try and connect the music to real events. This was only compounded by the fact that they weren't actually able to connect any lyrics to any specific crimes at all, but instead were attempting to make Thug look like a bad person in front of the jury. It was around this point that it seemed like the state's previously massive case against YSL was starting to fall apart. A number of mishaps were making them look profoundly disorganized and unprepared, from the seemingly pointless presentation where they accused a defendant of participating in animal sacrifices, to one detective admitting on record that they were missing key evidence that could prove their points if they had it, to a series of poorly organized presentations of ballistics evidence and phone records that made almost no sense at all. It was starting to look more and more like they may have never had a great plan on how to prove their charges to begin with. The state's case was further weakened as even more witnesses who were supposed to support their claims ended up undermining them instead. For example, one witness they brought up challenged the prosecution's interpretation around slang and clothes as key evidence. When questioned about terms like slime and slat being connected to YSL as an organized gang, He explained that these terms were simply common slang words used all around the world, not gang-specific language. The defense reinforced this point by showing a number of videos of athletes and celebrities using similar words. In the same way, when the prosecution attempted to use YSL-branded merch as evidence of gang activity, it fell flat again. These items had been widely sold to the general public, holding no inherent criminal connection at all, and it was understood by everyone that was the case. At this point in time, with the case being well over 10 months long, even the judge was getting impatient at the prosecutor seemingly turning the trial into a circus. On September 30th, 2024, Judge Whitaker even reprimanded one of the prosecuting attorneys, saying that she was purposefully hiding the ball to the biggest extent she possibly could for as long as she possibly could, looking so unorganized that it seemed like she was throwing the case together as it went along.
But it is baffling to me that somebody with the number of years of experience that you have, time
Goofy
after time
ass
after
shit,
time,
man. She was goofballed out.
to seemingly
We're gonna skip past this.
purposefully.
You find it in your heart to allow me to go home and be with my family and just do better as a person.
As of now, Young Thugg has been sentenced to a 15-year probation, allowing him to walk away as a mostly free man, thanks in many ways to the hard work from his lawyers like Brian Steele. It was a tough decision to make, go home that day with probation or maybe go home in 3 months completely free, but in the end he and his team made the call that seemed right to them at the moment. The challenge now is with the strict conditions imposed by the court that he must fulfill during this period. For one, for the first 10 years of his probation, he's completely banned from entering Metro Atlanta, where his entire family and community is from. There are a few exceptions for the sake of respect and dignity. He can visit Atlanta for family events like weddings, funerals, or graduations, or to address any serious illness of an immediate family member, but for these occasions, it's defined that he's allowed to arrive 24 hours before and must leave within 48 hours of any event he's attending. But Young Thugg is from Atlanta. His music and brand is based on that fact, not to mention that's where his family and business is. Being restricted from living in or even visiting his hometown has major implications for his career and life. Another more standard requirement from his probation is that he's expected to perform community service. The court has arranged for Young Thugg to come to Atlanta on a supervised visit 4 times each year to deliver anti-gang, anti-gun violence presentations at local schools. He has to do this for at least 100 hours every year for 15 years. But the last 2 stipulations of probation seem significantly more challenging and could easily make it difficult for him to successfully complete the entire term.
Bro.
Of course, looking back now, it's frustrating to hear any of this when the state was originally willing to let all of this go if he would testify against his co-defendants. And that kind of sums it up.
No.
Ultimately, the state of Georgia built up a case against Young Thugg and YSL without a lot of, or really any concrete evidence to show what they had done wrong. Whether or not they knew this going in.
Woody don't give a fuck. Woody just happy he got a little bit of money on and he good to go.
Integrity combined with how much power they were wielding.
They don't understand how easy it is to get caught up with this shit.
Intimidate witnesses, keep people in jail for years without trial. It paints a picture of an abuse of authority, to put it lightly.
It does.
In some ways, it's possible to even interpret this as if Fulton County prosecutors themselves were acting like a gang on their own. Even some prominent Atlanta lawyers criticized the DA's office for the way they went after YSL, saying things like they didn't have the discipline to tell a coherent story and focused too much on irrelevant evidence. Speaking anonymously, one of the case's jurors said that the state's case felt like a torn-up picture they tried to tape back together. Still, though, the trial was a warning shot to the hip-hop community as a whole. DA Fannie Willis set a monumental precedent for using rap lyrics as evidence in trials, citing multiple songs against YSL as proof of crimes they had committed, saying that if you decide to admit crimes over a beat, I'm going to use it before the trial. She put a huge weight on that tactic, but it ultimately backfired when the jury wasn't convinced at all. Even if they have nothing real on you, they can lock you up for years and waste your time and your family's time for as long as they want. While ultimately their strategy failed, with jurors and judges recognizing that rappers have a right to make songs without it being used against them for unrelated crimes, it's still not out of the question for them to do it again to someone else, or inspire other artists to change the way they express themselves.
Shout out to Volksgeist again. Shout out to Volksgeist.
Lil Durk, and many others have all made moves to distance themselves from their gang-affiliated pasts in the last few years. But even Lil Durk wasn't able to outrun the law and got booked on federal murder-for-hire charges just a few days before Young Thugg was released. With artists not wanting to
That's how they do it. They let one go and take the other one.
It seems like certain topics will be off limits for the time being, at least until a higher court makes a decision one way or the other on what sort of speech is actually protected under the First Amendment or not. This time, the right side seems to have won, but with the grave cost of taking years off the life of everyone involved. And don't forget, my newest pendant, Chaos, is now available at...
Alright, back. So y'all see from that bitch, man, Young Thug got like 15 years worth of probation. And he got to do community service over half of the probation. He can't be around no gangbangers. He can't really talk about his shit that's going on. It's just, he can't go back to his hometown. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Young Thug, man, he got to be a whole new person. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you know, it's all because over that dude Nut. And then Woody done put his name all up in it, and it just caused a wildfire. But that lawyer is like a hell of a good lawyer, man. He broke down the whole Atlanta, Georgia DA, man. That court was not ready, bro. And it just shows you that, like, if you got enough money on it, you got a good lawyer, man, you can win against any case, man. You know, just a lot of times these people just don't have good lawyers. Crip. They have lawyers that are working with the motherfucking people. Which I see in the case that it was a lot of judges that was with, that knew the people that was in court. You know what I'm saying? In relationships with them, they knew them. They was trying to do plea deals and all weird types of shit. So it just goes to show you, man, that you need you a good ass lawyer. And this lawyer that Thug knew, he was a lawyer that goes into the court. That knew the black dude. He knew the black dude. But he just did his job better than what the court thought he was. And it just worked out. So I'm just saying, man, what he talking all this BS, like he just cool with Thug, and Thug is like, I'm not cool with you. So hey, man, we out this bitch. Hood, Northside, Big Crip, gang.
Hey, Dad, you know, dog, when we link up, dog, this shit be legendary. You know this instrumental, you the engineer on it, so Kodak everywhere.